Okay, any true spiritual pointing or principle, it's going to be paradoxical. I call it the language of opposites also. I'm saying you try hard to awaken, but totally relax. Because if you try too hard, identity comes in and you start measuring yourself. How awake am I? I don't know. This person, wow, he keeps saying nothing exists. And then he does his laughing yoga and wow, I'm not there. And all this nonsense starts to play in your mind. You be authentic. you, you do what the life force is moving you to do, whatever your spiritual practice is or sadhana, and you can cooperate with that. At the same time, don't measure yourself. Don't keep trying to check yourself and compare yourself and oh no, I don't know how awake I am. No, that's the relaxing part. You chill with that. And then organically, key word, organically, you're going to start to get downloads of self-realization. It's going to be organic. It's not going to be some talking head that just talks about spirituality and non-duality and blah, 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 right? You don't want that. If you got to experience it, it's cool, but you want it to be authentic. You want it to be natural. Just like if you're already a man or you're already a woman, it's natural. You don't need to work at that. That's what we want. And before I started making videos, I was thinking a little bit on the spiritual channel. I was like, what am I gonna talk about though? What's my technique? Am I gonna be a proponent of self-inquiry or of non-dual talk, or like what's my thing? What's my thing? I use the word non-duality, by the way, just to give the algorithm something to index, because you got to play the game a little bit on YouTube. But when I really sat with that, I'm like, I don't have any technique. I'm not a proponent of any technique, simply because from my experience of trying all these techniques, they're all good, but yet none of them are the master key. There's no master key. I've learned that organically. But all these things are good. It depends on your archetype and your temperament and your karma, what you're going to be attracted to. Are you more devotional? Are you more of a Ghani, knowledge type? Are you going to be paying more attention to like self-inquiry? Are you going to be doing more just a meditation type practice like Vipassana? Are you a yogi? You can do your asanas and pranayama and mudra and bandhas and kriyas. Like, we can't control that anyway, by the way. All those memories are already downloaded in us. They get revealed as time goes on. So I'm saying they're all good. Go do whatever you're supposed to do, whatever your destiny is to do. But look, sadhana or spiritual practice or yoga and all these things, meditation, it's for the mind. It's for the ego mind that's trying to awaken, because awakening is for the ego mind. It's not for our true self. This whole game is about fusion, fusing more and more, you can say, with our source self. And so part of the game is the human character. We're looking for, it's like the video game. We're looking for the tools to reach the goal. So a lot of the tools here to reach, you can say, levels of self-realization is sadhana and yoga and meditation. So, of course, do what you feel to do. But I've learned the mind can't force this stuff. You can't force surrender. You can't do really repetitive prayer. I'm going to pray for 24 hours nonstop. I'm going to do sleep fasting and just dedicate all this time to God. I'm not even going to eat or drink. I'm going to do total sense deprivation. I'm going to pray. Just pray because I want to wake up. It doesn't work like that. You know when it works like that? It works like that if you want to get your bachelor's degree and then you go to school and you keep going to the classes and you work hard at passing the classes, then you'll get your degree. That's not an evolutionary alchemic journey there. It's more of a mental thing. You just do what the teacher tells you to do, and there you go. I always had problems with that, by the way. This spirituality, this awakening process, this is an alchemic evolutionary journey of consciousness. There's a whole slew of different factors and variables that play in and determine the rate of our awakening process. It's not the mind can't bypass that. You can do all the yoga and meditation you want. It can't do it. Like, you can't say, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go take my 1 year yoga course and pay $10,000. And they say afterwards, I'm going to be in samadhi. Okay, try it. And the mind also, it can't force a surrender. Like, okay, I'm going to really, I just want to surrender. But I'm also saying, that's part of the deal, though. Like, that comes natural. We should do that. That's part of the play. It's part of the, like, that's what, what are you going to do? Not surrender? And then you can say, well, all this is happening by itself. We're not really doing anything. Yeah, that's part of it, too. Recognize that also. Be the witness of the sense of self that's doing the sadhana, doing the spiritual practice, trying to surrender, to do prayer and all that. It's both. You're watching the formless self isn't doing that, but the individual sense of self is doing that. Cooperate and be aware of both. I'm all about both because that's balance. That's a true, solid, authentic awakening. It's when you've realized the importance of both. But there's no techniques. I used to think I'm just going to do self-inquiry. I'm just going to keep doing it. Who's looking and why and I didn't get better. Like, I got better when I recognized and realized what I'm telling you right now. To try as best as we can to awaken by doing these things that come natural, but at the same time not measuring my progress or judging or comparing or any of that. Just, I'm relaxed about it. Like, God, it's not in my hand. I can't do anything. Like, we have to see clear that we can't do anything. It's a natural instinct, though, to want to be out of pain if you're suffering or in some situation or circumstance. That's natural. Yeah, this game is no joke, man. It's strong. The software programs that we have is strong. So you can't just ignore that. Yeah, something's working towards being free of something or getting out of a certain situation. Yeah, but you can't force it. Now, some may say, well, I just made a decision and left. Well, that was your time to do that. You didn't choose to do it. Ego wants to take credit. Like, no, man, look. And then it tells people, all you got to do is just do this. Just do this. Different karma, different situation. So you trust as best as you can. I'm going to make a video. He who brought me here is taking care of me. The process can look messy. And it can seem unbearable sometimes, but it's temporary. Like, it's not gonna last. But when I had this realization that I'm sharing with you, both, remember, to try hard to awaken, but relax about it, man, that set me free. Just set me free. Before then, I had a false dependence and obsession with practicing certain techniques. I got to just keep doing this practice, and I was too identified with the spiritual character trying to become like enlightened. And so you just see over a period of time, if you stay conscious, you're like, this just doesn't work. It's not a giving up in a negative way. It's a seeing. You see, like, it just doesn't work. At the same time, it's necessary, though. You see that too. Language of opposites. Like, the mind can't understand these things. Intuitively, some of you can understand them. So that was a huge realization. A very nice one. I'm very grateful for that realization. It set me free. And also what set me free is realizing, I've shared about this before and I'll keep doing it, that there's not a one and you're done awakening. There's not enough gurus talking about that. And so then that leads one to imagine like that the people who are postulating themselves as some guru, that they've made it, I've made, like, they really made it. And they're in samadhi 24/7. They don't have any negative thoughts. They don't have any, you can say, heavy tendencies to do things maybe that aren't spiritual. Like, they don't have any of that. They're walking around in this Satchitananda all the time. I wish some of them would say, no, I'm not. Osho did. Osho's more real. Even if there's a constant state of peace, which actually there is in everybody, some aren't aware of it, the dimmer light switch gets turned up and down. You don't become some static walking robot. Realizations that you've had, awakening experiences you've had, in one stage or moment, the dimmer light switch can be really high. And that's when the mind comes in and says, well, I got it now. Yeah, okay, fast forward some time, that dimmer switch is going to start to go lower. Did you lose your awakening? Were you ever awake to begin with? Or was it just another experience that the individual sense of self is having? So that was great freedom too, that realization. It's like something inside debunked this idea, this concept of awakening and enlightenment, while at the same time admitting that that exists though also, but it's an unending journey. The individual self can always become more awake, always. The fact that it's an individual sense of self means it's limited by default. So it can always let go a little more of its individuality and merge more with its source. But it's always going to keep its individuality. Otherwise, it won't exist anymore. God wants to exist, obviously. All right, did you get something from that? Let me know.